Hello, everyone, and welcome to Varsity Aces Live. I'm your host, Greg Mattura, sports writer for NorthJersey.com and The Record. Tonight's topic, we are but a week away from the start of the New Jersey fall outdoor sports season. Who'd have thunk it? Tonight, I'm going to be joined by four guests, starting with my fellow co-host and writer, Sean Farrell, up top there. Sean, how are you?
Good. How you doing tonight, Greg?
I am not too bad. And we are also joined by a Northern Valley at Demarest hat trick, starting with veteran athletic director Greg Butler. Greg, thank you for joining us, and how's it going?
Going great. Always a pleasure talking with you, Greg.
Next up, we have veteran girls soccer coach Brandon Silva. Brandon, how's it going?
Great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And then lastly, at the bottom, just got finished with his boys soccer practice. We have first-year coach Rob Romeo. Rob, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, let's get right to it then. First question, the season for cross-country, football, etc. It starts with tennis on September 29th. We're going to have soccer on October 1st, football October 2nd. Greg, your thoughts on us just being a week away from starting this New Jersey fall sports season outdoors in the face of a pandemic?
As you started out the show, who could have ever thought we would have got to this point? I am so proud of all my fellow athletic directors, the state of New Jersey, for persevering and staying the course. As you know, the tri-state, New York, Connecticut, all pushed their seasons back. But as true New Jersey guys, we and girls, we stayed with it, and here we are at the starting line.
Brandon, over to you. Your thoughts on us being just a little over a week away from starting the soccer season?
Yeah, listen, I'm excited. I mean, it's a great feel for sports, at least around our campus. Everybody's got a little hop to their step. The kids are most excited I've ever seen them. Of course, there's some apprehensive with coaching with a mask and things like that, some apprehension. But by and large, everybody's off to a great start. At least at Northern Valley Demarest, and I'm looking forward to seeing some fellow coaches and getting back on the field for sure. So it's been great.
Rob, again, your first-year coach. Your thoughts on just being a little more than a week away from starting the boys' soccer season?
Well, first off, I'm extremely excited that we actually have this opportunity at the moment to move forward and play the game that the kids and we all love. So, like Coach Silva said, the excitement in the kids' eyes and in the community is awesome that they kind of get to come back out and participate as they are aware of the proper protocols that we have to take.
And now, gentlemen, my colleague Greg Tartaglia had a story yesterday about how a lot of football teams are disappointed they won't get to play for a title in the postseason. You guys have that opportunity. We're not going to have usual state champions or sectional champions, but we're going to have regional champions where Bergen County teams play Essex and Hudson in a Northeast pod. Brandon, I know you have a lot of excitement about your team. How much does it mean to the girls to actually play for a meaningful title this year when you didn't know if that was going to be the case?
I think my initial thought was not playing for something actually, I think, would have humbled the players a little bit. It's not really all about that all the time, So, yeah, I mean, as an athlete, former athlete, competitor, of course you want to play for something. But what are you really playing for? I mean, really, you're playing for your school. You're playing for your, for your teammates. And I think everything else kind of falls into place if all those things, work out the way they should. But from a team standpoint, certainly very excited that they have an opportunity to compete against some of the greatest teams, around. So, yeah, I think it definitely added something to the energy of the group for sure. But again, bringing it down to reality a little bit. When you play sports, it's not really all about the trophies. They kind of go here and there. I think it's just about the experience and playing for something bigger than yourself. So,
and certainly a lot of expectations on your team. I have you ranked 5th in North Jersey. How do you feel 8 days to go? The show is almost starting. How do you feel about where your team is so close to the starting block?
Probably the most excited I've been around, even my years at Demarest, and of course over at IHA and back at Demarest. This is an exciting group. They're excited. They're pumped up. We've had great practices. I think this quarantine and this situation humbled a lot of people in many ways. And I get a feel for the maturity it kind of raised with our group. So yeah, I mean, a week away, it's exciting, and I can't really believe it's happening. But I'm excited that of course, we're going to go forward and we'll see how the group does.
And Rob, we touched on it before. You're a first-year coach in 2020. Are you pulling your hair out? What's the experience been like for the last few weeks for you?
First off, I can't be more fortunate to step on in at Northern Valley Demarest. I like to thank my athletic director and what a great staff he has here. Brandon Silva has been a great mentor. Some other coaches have been mentoring me, and it's really a great place to work. The energy is high. We bring it to practice as a crew. The excitement as a first-year head coach, I think that, like we talk about at our practices, our energy level has to be high, and it starts with me as a coach. And I tell them that we're going to get through this together, and on and off the field. We just communicate and work hard. It's super exciting. I'm really honored.
And Rob, how do you feel like your players have handled all the new rules and protocols? Has that been tricky at all?
Once you put them in place and you have them understand that in order for us to have a season, in order for us to be successful, we need to follow these rules, and they're for our safety. They're not here to, obviously they get complicated at times, but we need to follow them in order to be able to play. And I think they're more excited to play, so they understand the protocol, and that's where we are right now.
Gentlemen, question to all three of you, and that is, what have been the biggest one or two challenges that you faced in your jobs in the last couple of months? Greg, I'd like to start with you, please.
Well, this summer wasn't a summer. I mean, the administration is constantly trying to implement the guidelines, communicating with all the coaches throughout the summer. Usually the summer is just a very transitional period. The layers of paperwork, ordering thermometers, it was endless, and it just seems to just never end. But as my coaches alluded to see the smiles on the kids' face when I start pulling my hair out, and it's been a struggle at times, but I'm always grounded and remember that this is for the social, emotional benefit of our kids, and then it all becomes well worth it.
Brandon, over to you. Same question. One or two biggest challenges this summer?
Yeah, I mean, just to echo Coach. I mean, well, let me just say just quickly with the challenges. I mean, we are supported by one of the best in Greg Butler. I mean, I know that he's on this right now, but he knows I've told this to him, and I speak the highest regards about him. When you never have to worry about the support and the communication from somebody that you look up to so much, it trickles down to the staff. I mean, we leave no stone unturned, and our staff is supported at the utmost. So really any challenges that we had to face were 100% supported, I mean, immediately by Coach Butler. So without him, I don't know, honestly, I really don't know what our staff would have been like because he was with us and holding our hands every step of the way. And I got to make sure I mention that because he's a mentor to all of us. But I would argue that, again, the paperwork and making sure the kids their temperatures are taking, and then the nerve wracking of that piece. And did you record it right? Is the thermometer working? It sounds silly, but really in these times, a lot comes on. It's our responsibility, right? So those are the challenges. And of course, coaching through a mask is really difficult. I mean, it really is difficult. But again, it's a wrinkle in time, and we're all getting through it together with the support of each other. So it's going to be fine.
A couple of NFL coaches actually were fined big bucks this past weekend for not having their masks on the sideline. Rob, over to you. Same question. One or two biggest challenges that you faced in the last couple of months?
So, to start off with, to piggyback off everyone's conversation here, the masks, the procedure, the 6 feet social distancing, the protocol, but this is what we're dealt with right now. And we are looking as coaches to make the best of it. And if we want to participate and play, we have to do it. Now, early on in the summer, it's hot. You don't have the ability to so much collaborate as large groups. So now you have to work in small pods, which makes things a little interesting, and it has its pros and cons. But once you put them into groups of 10 and they social distance, you got to communicate into small groups than big groups where, as a regular season, tryout, warm up, so on and so forth, it makes things, you could start seeing the bigger picture. And right now we had to start off with seeing smaller pictures to then put together, like a puzzle, put the big piece together towards the end, just little steps. But I think that this kind of makes us appreciate things more. I think it also makes us coaches appreciate what we do and how safe we need to stay in order to have a season.
And Brandon, you've run a lot of training camps over your years at both Demarest and Immaculate Heart. Are you doing the same drills? Are you doing the same practice? Does it look similar, or is it a completely different ball game this year?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it would be wrong of me not to mention my assistant coach, Steve Ryan. He's been at my shoulder and my side really through all those years. And we've evolved. I mean, with coaching education, our professional development, like I do as a teacher, we've evolved, and nothing really stays the same. It becomes boring for us. We've stepped out of our comfort zone with this group, and we're pushing the envelope with them a little bit because I think we're pretty talented, at least in the forward block, the midfield, and the forward block. So we're pushing them a little bit intellectually. We had a little classroom session today to see if they can handle it with our first test tomorrow against a very good Old Japan team. So no, I'm treating it very differently for myself and to see what happens. Try something different.
And you touched on the fact you have that scrimmage tomorrow against Old Japan, and Rob, same deal with you. You have your scrimmage tomorrow on the road. Soccer teams only have one scrimmage this year. How serious are you guys taking that scrimmage? What are you telling your players in terms of how to approach it?
I mean, I think for me, I said to them, expect everyone to play 100%. So it's not going to be about the result tomorrow. It's going to be about rewarding the focus and the work ethic and the dedication that they've shown since we started. So they've left no stone unturned. It would be not right of me not to get them on the field tomorrow. So we're going to see different shapes, players at different areas. We kind of have it all set up. Really, because we have one, it's kind of giving their opportunity to step in, especially some of the younger players. So, yep.
Very similar layout. When you play scrimmage each other, it's a different style of play. It's a different competitiveness. When you actually take this as we're going to scrimmage another school and we're going to go out there and play as a unit, there's another level. There's another side that really starts to come out and shine. And this is their opportunity with this one and only scrimmage to show us what they have on and off the field, because we're a large squad, and I encourage everybody to support one another, be leaders on and off for one another. It's big.
And I believe the interesting thing with both of your teams is you're going on the road tomorrow. So I'm curious, Greg Butler, from an AD perspective, how does transportation change this year? Will it be different than what you've had to deal with in the past?
Like everything else, it's not the way it was in the past. We were only allowed 22 people on a bus, and that's including the coaches. We've always had alternate transportation forms that we use in emergency situations, but we've offered that to our parents. If they feel uneasy about sending their child on the bus, they can take their child to and from these events. So I know our girls soccer has all signed up to do that for the entire season. So they'll be transporting back and forth from with their parents. Other coaches still will be taking the bus, but that's even a change, like everything else.
Question, and once again, for all three of you, and that is, obviously the last several months have been a very emotional period, not just for coaches and administrators, but for parents and players. What is the emotional state of the kids at your school right now, or the kids on your team right now, compared to a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? Are they running out of gas and they just want to get to the first game? Are they re-energized because they're so close to the start of the first match? Can we start with you, Brandon?
Sure. Look, I mean, the daily schedule with the mix of cohorts and the virtual, the Zooms and the E-Day instructions when we're all online at once, they look forward to those couple hours on the field to just breathe the fresh air in and be along their teammates. So I feel, my personal opinion, I mean, of course, the school walls aren't the same. It's nice to walk around the building and see literally half of some familiar faces. But by and large, speaking for my own group, really like caged animals right now. I mean, I think that they want competition. They want to hit the road running, the ground running. And so I think that the feel is really good.
Rob, over to you. Same question. The emotional state now versus a month ago, 3 months ago?
A lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of encouragement. Our boys, we've been doing, and Coach Brandon Silva has kind of said the same thing. They've been putting this time in. We've done a lot of Google Meets and a lot of Zoom, a lot of individual at-home workouts where we understand that we just can't walk in a week or two right before the start of the season and expect us to perform at a high level. This is taking weeks and months of preparation that unfortunately you guys have to put in on your own. And it's a part of growing up, a part of taking responsibility. And as we together unite on the field, that energy has to be, cohesive together. And I think they're super excited. We are super excited, and we can't wait.
And Robert, I don't think a lot of people know a whole lot about Demarest boys soccer, but you had some recent success winning the Bergen Cup last year and then a division title in 2018 for the first time in 4 decades. What should people know about your program? What should we look for this year with the Norsemen?
Hey, this year is going to be one interesting year, and I think we're going to really come out and shine. I don't know if they expect it, but we've been pretty aggressive, strong, just hardworking kids that really care. And I've said this before. I've coached in many other schools, and when I came here to Northern Valley Demarest, I was so fortunate because these boys, they have respect and heart, and not just for themselves, but for one another and the coaching staff. But we have some key players that will shine over this course of the season, and just we're ready to go.
Greg, back to you. You get to oversee an entire program. What do you feel is the sort of the emotional state of your coaches, of their players, even of the parents, even of the people who work at the school? How do you view all this?
I'm very proud to work in a district that understands the importance of athletics and the whole educational process, especially the social and emotional well-being of the student athletes. We got to it at July 13th. Everyone is so appreciative of the support of the Board of Education and Administration to push us along. I'm proud of our coaches. You can see Rob and Brandon, how they handled themselves tonight. They talked about the process as much as, they're looking forward to maybe the end of the year. It's about the process and enjoying and appreciating this opportunity, learning lessons and not taking anything for granted. I think they also realize that we are in a pandemic and that all these safety procedures are part of our new world. So I could not be prouder of everyone, and I could not be happier for our athletes that this opportunity is right at the doorstep now. And I think the Norseman Nation is ready to rock.
Question to all three of you, and that is, what will go through your mind when you play your first game, when your kids go onto the field and the whistle blows and you play that first game? Brandon, can I start with you on that?
Probably overwhelmed with emotion, to be honest with you. For the seniors specifically and trickling down, it's just there's been so many different stories that the kids have dealt with. It'll be an emotional roller coaster. I think we'll have to calm the storm for the first 7 minutes and just play a little more direct, just to get the cobwebs off, because I just feel like it's going to be very chaotic. But I'll be really happy for both Otapan, because we're actually opening up against them, which is good that we're playing them away both times, at least for us. But I'll be happy for those kids too. I'll be really happy to see their smiles on their faces, and looking forward to meeting their new coach, She's been great over email, and really just try to enjoy the moment.
Rob, over to you. Same question. How are you going to feel for that first game?
Just like Brandon said, be ready for that moment, the excitement, the happiness that the kids are going to experience, that they're out here, that we made it. We actually have made it this far. And I emphasize over and over safety and proper protocol. And if we continue to preach that, we'll have these opportunities to have many more games. But the kickoff game is going to be super exciting. And I'm proud of my senior class. I'm just proud of all these boys working together to stay healthy and be ready to play, because without that, we won't have a season. So in this pandemic, the importance are safety and taking care of yourself and one another, and the field. When we're ready to start, it's going to be a great feeling. I can't wait to see it.
Greg, final thoughts on the first day that your teams start to go out on the field and play.
I can't wait. That's the best part of my job, is watching our student athletes, their hard work come to fruition in a competitive setting. So it's the best part of my job, whether it was a pandemic or not, and I can't wait for it.
Sean, final thoughts, final questions.
I just have one more for Greg Butler. I know there's a question about tickets this year with a limit of 500. Have you decided who's going to get in the building for a football game at Demarest this year?
Yeah, once again, all the ADs have been working hard to try to be on the same page. We're working with our administration. The announcement's going to be coming out pretty soon, but we are limiting it to parents only of the participants. And that communication will be coming out. Some schools are not having any spectators. NFL, NBA has nobody at all, but we felt it was important at least the parents could be there to support their child.
All right, that about does it. I'd like to thank my co-host, Sean Farrell, and the triple play from Northern Valley at Demarest, AD Greg Butler, girls coach Brandon Silva, and boys soccer coach Rob Romeo. I wore blue out of respect for Demarest.
Awesome.
Thank you so very much for coming on.
Thank you.
But before we step off, I invite you to stay tuned as Darren Cooper does a 100-yard walk with All-State football player Tywone Malone of Bergen Catholic. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Sean.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome to the Jack McGovern Field here in Oradell, New Jersey, home of the Bergen Catholic Crusaders and home of New Jersey's #1 recruit, the one and only Tywone Malone from Bergen Catholic. How are you, Tywone?
I'm doing good.
Good. First question we have to ask everybody this time is just, how's your family? How's everybody been doing? Have you been lucky? Nobody gotten sick?
No one's gotten sick in my family. It's all going good.
Man, it's scary though, isn't it? Man?
Yeah, it is.
How did that change and impact kind of like what you were planning on doing this summer and what you had to do this summer?
Yeah, definitely this summer I had a lot more baseball tournaments,
Yeah.
and I had a couple visits set up until the virus hit. So it's been a lot more like Zoom calls, FaceTime calls.
If you don't know, Mr. Malone's quite the baseball player. Did you start playing baseball first?
Yes, sir, I did at a young age.
What do you enjoy about playing baseball?
Just everything, just the sport in general. It's just a lot of competitive sport.
Right.
You just gotta have a lot of mental work, eye coordination, hand-eye go. You gotta have great feet work to play. And it's just something I love to do.
Of course, I'm not going to ask you where you're going because you can go anywhere you want. But have you got your mind kind of made up on what kind of school you want to go to? What do you want out of the school?
Pretty much what I want out of school is a school that can let me do both. That's
Okay.
highly important to me, is to make sure school is allowing me to do both. Other than that, it's just education, a place I can feel comfortable at, that I feel like I can fit in really well.
All right, last thing, what are you going to study?
A business or sports medicine.
Good choice. From Jack McGovern Field here in Oradell, home of the Bergen Catholic Crusaders, I'm Darren Cooper. That's Tywone Malone.